Well, between 1950 and the 1980s, around 100,000 children were placed in state institutions in New Zealand. And what seemed to happen was that the state didn't quite know what to do with Maori children. The numbers who were in those institutions had almost doubled over 10 years. They still had the same number of staff, and the great proportion of the staff were untrained and had no understanding of treating children. And for example, in Koheteria, which is near Levin, a lot of the staff were retired dairy farmers and locals who saw their job as kicking backsides and sorting kids out. So the treatment that was accorded these children was horrific, and they were incapable of managing a lot of children who had quite complex needs. So you have a situation where somebody who may have been shifted, a dozen times from one home to another eventually finds themselves in one of these institutions where there is inadequate professional support for them, where inevitably a culture develops which treats these young people as though they were incapable of change, of transformation, where there's an absence of love and care and support. And so we get instances of abuse, of violent assaults, sexual offending, and what tends to happen in the care situation is what happens in prison. All the evidence internationally tells us that if the longer you go to prison and the harsher you're treated, the more likely you are to reoffend when you leave. So in other words, going to interstate care was almost a ticket to prison